World singer and civil rights activist Harry Belafonte has died.
His voice made Harry Belafonte famous, but growing up in Harlem in Jamaica, his mother taught him to use it to do more than entertain.
She would say to me, never go to bed at night knowing that you have spent a day in which you have done nothing to try to change injustice.
And Belafonte started fighting early, joining the Navy at 17 to serve in the Pacific during World War II. After the war, he sang in clubs before receiving a Tony Award for his 1953 Broadway debut. Next came success in Hollywood, including an Academy Award nomination for Carmen Jones. His career was one of firsts, the first African-American to win an Emmy.
Down the way where the nights are gay and
his album Calypso became the first to sell 1 million copies. Through it all, Belafonte made his voice heard. A friend and confidant of Martin Luther King, Belafonte marshaled celebrities to the cause of civil rights.
No one can deny the fact that art and culture played a huge role in how human minds and hearts were opened and touched.
At King's funeral, he shed tears beside King's widow.
I roamed the streets, leaderless.
Belafonte spent his life on the front lines, protesting apartheid, calling for a ban on nuclear weapons. To fight famine in Africa, Harry Belafonte once again gathered celebrities to raise awareness and more than $60 million. In 1994, Bill Clinton awarded Belafonte the National Medal of Arts. Belafonte spent more than 25 years as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador and dedicated his later years to inspiring a new generation of artist activists.
We still have wars, we still have poverty. As long as these things exist, there's always going to be something to do, but that cannot distract from the fact that we're on the way.
A way paved in part by a man and his music.
Belafonte sings of struggles for laborers in Jamaica, where he spent some of his childhood. As he told CBS News in 2018, the song had a special place in his heart.
Most of my family in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, were plantation workers. Singing was a big part of the culture because it helped with the tediousness of working in the sun.
With a smooth baritone voice, Belafonte was the first recording artist to sell more than 1 million albums, a significant milestone during segregation.
This is my island in the sun.
Harry Belafonte was born in Harlem in 1927 and grew up on 114th Street. He served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. After the military, he returned to New York City and took a job as a janitor's assistant. A tenant gave him 2 tickets to see a play at the American Negro Theater, which was in the basement of the Schomburg Library in Harlem. It would change his life.
I looked and saw players on the stage in the basement of a library in Harlem, saying things and doing things that just absolutely overwhelmed me. Young artists, Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee, were 2 of the performers that I saw.
He would meet Sidney Poitier, and they would become lifelong friends. Belafonte said it was the theater that shaped his sense of purpose.
I was an activist long before I became an artist, but it was in looking at the world of art and what I discovered in this theater that I found a place where my activism could be nourished.
The actor made his Broadway debut in 1953's John Murray Anderson's Almanac and won a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. That same year, Belafonte got his first movie role in Bright Road, opposite Dorothy Dandridge. The next year, the two appeared on screen again in Carmen Jones.
It's a long night, pretty boy. I'm not going anywhere.
In 1960, the entertainer won a Grammy Award for Best Folk Performance, and that same year, he would win an Emmy Award for Outstanding Performance in a Variety Series. And Belafonte was just getting started. But art and activism would be his life and legacy. He was close friends with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and spoke at the 1963 March on Washington.
To be in Washington was for me today a beginning, really. A kind of a climax to generations of hope.
Whether speaking to politicians or a pope, Belafonte was passionate about the fight for justice for all. In 1987, Belafonte was named a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Children's Fund. And in 2014, he received an honorary Academy Award for his humanitarian work. And the 115th Street branch of the New York Public Library was renamed in his honor in 2017.
I've done a lot in my life, but this particular ceremony has deeper resonance and deeper meaning than I think many of you would realize.
Belafonte's last big screen appearance was in 2018 in Spike Lee's film Black Klansman. Belafonte was married 3 times and had 6 children, and Mary, as you can tell, was a New Yorker and
activists coming up in the King movement in the North. He would spend time with us and reprimand us. No, you should do this. No, you should do that. He was very strategic. No one knew movement stuff better than Harry Belafonte. It was Harry that helped to get entertainers, from Marlon Brando to Sidney Poitier, to support Dr. King, and then all the way up to the work we've done around police brutality. He marched with us down Fifth Avenue around the police killing of Sean Bell. And I remember just last year when France was going to honor him, and because he was a little frail, they had to do it in his residence, in a room in his residence, and only 10 or 12 of us, Ken Sunshine would call us his publicist and say who his wife had said he wanted to be there. And that was the last time I saw him. And he sat there, he says, I watched your show. You need to correct this, you need to correct that. In fact, he did Politics Nation a couple of times. He's always was a mentor, always was a teacher, but he was always one that was bigger than life. There would not have been the civil rights movement the way it played out. There would not have been a movement around reform, and there would not be blacks that broke through in the 50s in entertainment had it not been a Harry Belafonte. I think to call him an icon is an understatement.
Sit down.
Where you want? Well, sir, seems like it's some property of mine was stolen, and I need some help.
So what you coming to me for?
Well, I heard that don't nothing go down unless you know about it.
Man, get out of my face.
No. Just a minute, get you, Dan. Mr. Buford. Mr. Buford.
If you don't get away from here soon, they're gonna be picking up your head from across the street. Now move out, sucker.
minute. Don't be pulling. Mr. Buford, please, sir. Please, Mr.